Pulling chunks out of the ground.
We'll call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hit your mic, John. Any changes or additions to the agenda?
I do not have any.
Motion approved, there's none.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. Consent agenda?
All right, attached are the minutes from our last meeting, October 11th, and we have the receivables and payables. Andrea, I think you had a couple payables to point out?
Yes, so going through, starting with the receivables, to find out in the general fund, we received, police aid from the state, that was, about $40,000, and then we also received fire aid, which was around $27,000, which is on the payables to go to the Relief Association tonight, or it was last meeting.
Last meeting?
Yep.
We also received a deferred assessment from the 2020 street project, that was about $90,000. Going through on the expense side of things, you saw to Northland, there was a bond payment, for 2014 street project, which would have been Front Street. There's a couple of new home purchase rebates, that went out this time, that were approved through the EDA. There was a housing study invoice onto Stantec. I think that was about almost just shy of 2,000 around there.
Yep.
There was quarter three, the safety program that we have through MMUA. That was just over 4,000. And then the last one I was going to point out, I believe it was, Ziegler, it was a cemetery mower. That's all the words to purchase. Otherwise, everything else was routine in nature, unless you guys had specific questions on anything.
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Second. I don't know, maybe he's looking at it yet.
All.
You good, Jim?
Jim is maybe there.
We're good. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Public forum? Ron?
Ron Berger, 115 West North Street. A while back, I had to have my sewer line rooted out because I was getting back up in the house. And after I got it done, they discovered, when they were doing it, they discovered that there's about a 4-foot section of non-compliable pipe from where they originally dug in until they're hooked up. They must run 6 feet, he said, and it's not the pipe like they put in. And so now I've got to list my house. If I list it for sale, I've got to record that or disclose that information. So I'm wondering what, I know it's been quite a few years since they did it, but it seems to be an issue now. So it's going to, he said it probably 2 or 3 years will grow back through again. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I don't know what we can do about it or what the city will do, if anything about it, but I just want to bring it to your attention.
And it's non-compliance pipe, is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's what the guy from Roto-Rooter told me.
And it's in the right of way, not in yours. It's in the road right of way?
It's in from where they brought it in, to, they must have took some out, and then they put in like a 4 to 6 foot piece of pipe
So
in
it'd be in
between
the
there that the roots can go through.
Oh, it'll be in the right of way then, yeah.
So I'm not sure where it's at. It's out at least the cedar tree to the west.
Oh,
So I'm not sure exactly where it is.
right.
Yeah, well, this is the first I heard of it, so we'll just just
Is
have to
it in
look
the
at
right of way, or is it on?
I'm not sure, I'd have to check with the guy that did the,
Well, if it's different than yours, then it had to be in the right of way, they must have replaced it or damaged it and put a piece in or something, but.
I'll go back to hold the guy from Roto-Rooter and I'll get back to you guys then. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Ron.
Public forum? Public forum? Moving on. Notice of communications?
I do not have anything for you for this meeting.
Council reports?
Nothing here.
Personnel committee, met again tonight. Melissa wasn't able to be there, but we'll touch on that in, Clinton's stuff, as far as what we got.
Okay.
The park board met earlier tonight, and, the Northwoods Park, the Elkie Park is going to be built this week, I believe, constructed, all the materials are there. So hopefully it's done here within the next week to 10 days. That's about it. And we reviewed what our plans are for next year. We're going to solidify that a little more. I don't know of anything else, did you?
Okay. EDA met last week. The majority of the focus is on the housing study that's going on. We had some preliminary stuff on it, but it's very preliminary. I believe we're gonna have a presentation here. Did we decide a date? Was it
Is it December 13th?
December 13th?
That's our budget night.
Okay. Brief presentation from Stantec at that point on some of the updates. There's still some discussion around shrinking down the size of that EDA board. What does that take to get done?
Well, is it a city code item though? Is there,
Usually those are done by resolution, not ordinance.
Too big?
It's big enough that we have to have two council reps, and it's hard to, you know, everybody's got a lot of different boards and stuff they're on, it's hard to get people there.
I got you.
I mean, as it stands right now, it's bigger than the city council, I don't necessarily know that that's necessary.
I thought we had a public hearing to increase it from 5 to 7 members.
Well, it's something you can research, but there's discussion around shrinking that board back now and again. And with some appointments being up at the end of the year, it might be a good time to look at doing it.
We did 5, 6 years ago, increase that from 5 to 7, that had been, pretty sure it had to be done by ordinance.
Yeah, we did. There's a
Okay.
public hearing and everything.
So I assume it'd be the same to reduce it.
Okay. Administrator report?
All right. Attached in your packet is a cash balance dated last Thursday, actually the 20th. Jim just announced that the playground equipment will be installed beginning tomorrow morning at Elkie Park. I attached an editorial that was in the Star Tribune, written by the city clerk way up north by Canada. She spent many years planning, running, and participating in elections. She wrote a really nice editorial on the hard work that election judges, do that day, and preparing for it, and training for it, and things like that. And also, I want to touch on this, she did address the trust that we need to have in our election process. Minnesota is one of the best states for turnout, has been for decades. We have a really, really good election process in this state, so I'm glad that she was able to say that, and I'm glad that the Tribune printed it, so that was good to see. Moving on, next, is it Thursday, Andy? Yeah, Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday, yeah.
Yep, Wednesday and Thursday, a few of us will be in Rochester for the Housing Institute Workshop number 3. And then also, it is that time of year where we need to advertise for our boards and commissions openings. So I attached the list in the packet tonight of all the board members and who expires when on the board. Kinda said that wrong.
I think you did.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get to that, in the paper. Last week I went to the monthly league board meeting, a couple quick updates here for you. It's looking like cities again will receive dividends. We'll probably get them in the next 4 or 5 or 6 weeks. Not sure the dollar amount yet, but we were told that it was a good year for dividends. And a lot of the insurance is going to go up 5%. We had budgeted a little more, but a lot of them will be 5%. We do not know what the worker comp rates will be probably until November. So I'll just keep you posted on all those as we move along. And the only other thing, I guess, Jim, bring your computer in.
The one I threw in the trash?
That one.
Okay, yeah, we're good. The one I don't use.
Motion to approve the administrative report?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We have nothing under old business, so new business number 1 is Marley Rohr's resignation.
We got department head.
Oh,
Please.
skipping right by you there, chief.
Came in anyway.
Well, you're up then.
This is typically our third quarter report, gives you an idea of what we've done over the last quarter. We're maintaining a good average of over 500 calls for service every quarter, so we stay quite busy. As you can see, there's something in this quarterly report you don't normally see. First time in 22 years that I've been here, we've had anything like the attempted murder case that happened on Main Street. So that had taken up a lot of our resources. We had things that we had to pay for that we don't budget for on a normal basis, testing of evidence at private labs and things like that. So the budget's going to be a little bit over in some areas this year because of the costs associated with that one particular case. Other than that, unless anybody's got any questions about the numbers or about our activity for the quarter.
Dave, I noticed that the, traffic stops on Saturdays and Sundays are significantly higher, almost double from last quarter. Is that kinda just routine in nature, would you call it?
Yeah, pretty much. Part of it is too, we have a couple of new officers on board,
Sure,
so.
gotcha.
Speaking of which,
Yeah, speaking of which, I would like to introduce our newest part-time officer, Joe Martin. He's just coming on to us he works for Blooming Prairie as well. He's coming to us from them, and he's gonna be a good asset for us. We're still one part-time officer short, but hopefully we'll be able to continue creeping up to get that third part-time officer position filled, which will leave a lot of scheduling issues.
And I'm just grateful for Gainesville for taking me in.
Thank you.
Thank you, welcome. Anything else for Dave? No? Good?
What's other various Part 1 and Part 2 offenses, what's that considered, or?
Just lesser offenses that aren't specifically categorized in these areas.
Oh, okay. No, that's all, just curious.
All right, now we can move on to new business number 1.
attached in your packet is a letter of resignation from Marley Rohr. Her last day will be Monday, November 14th. The Personnel Committee did meet earlier tonight, like Andy had mentioned. We'll get into that here in a second. I would like to thank Marley for all of her hard work that she has done here. She started working here January of 2018, so it was almost 4 full years. And we've done a lot in those number of years, so I thank her a lot for that. And I would suggest that the or recommend that the city council, make a motion to accept this letter of resignation, and then Andy and I can do our Andy and Clinton show about what our plans are.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And wish her well.
Yeah,
Did a great job.
she was a
for
good
us.
asset.
Yeah.
Sorry to see her go.
So we've got the new, job posting all ready to go.
Oh, I guess I don't have to hand out, that's right.
Clinton and Marley kinda sat down and looked it over and critiqued it a little bit, I believe, right?
Yep, we updated the job description, Personnel Committee looked at that tonight. The job ad is pretty similar to other job ads we've done over the years. We went through a list of places that we can advertise in. So I think I would like to start advertising ASAP.
You need a motion for that, or we good?
Yeah, why don't you, 'cause
I'll
you're the
motion that we
hire.
advertise and, look for a replacement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And thank Marley profusely for what she did for us.
I will, thank you. Anything else from?
No, I don't think so. Not as of yet.
Right.
All right, new business number 2, we have the collective bargaining agreement between the police force.
Don't need to take it?
I don't care.
Up at the podium?
Well, that's why you're here.
Well, I thought it was on the renter issue there.
Oh, well, both.
Get me on 2 things tonight.
Highest paid person in the room, so let him know.
Well, hurry out with that.
Yeah, hurry.
Wrong point. That's right. Got a very good CBA here for your presentation tonight. There was some negotiation that went back and forth. Personnel Committee did meet. By and large, Personnel Committee has made this recommendation that you guys approve this CBA that is before you here tonight. I think the union pretty much started out the negotiations with some proposals that they recognized they would not be getting through these negotiations, and those have virtually all been withdrawn. This particular CBA, this particular agreement, is very, very similar to what they currently have. Not a whole lot is changing. One thing that is, I'll just point out some of the changes. One of the major things that's changing is with regard to court time. If an officer is subpoenaed to testify or noticed to testify, and court is canceled with less than 24 hours notice under the old agreement, they were being paid a $20 flat fee. I think everybody realizes that that is really low. So what we have done is we have agreed that they would get paid 1 hour paid at the rate of essentially overtime, time and a half. So there was some give and take on that particular proposal. That is what we are, that's what is in the agreement. The other thing that changed is the night shift gets a differential, meaning a little extra pay for doing the night shift. It was 50 cents per hour. That would be going up to $1.50.
If I could just say quickly, the 50-cent amount was put in place 12 or 13 years ago, so we needed to update that rate.
It's really low. So that $1.50, that would be the new rate. The other thing that has been updated is you guys had been giving a holiday, Clinton can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but going all the way back to 2002, Christmas Eve was designated a holiday, basically a half a day. It really was never in the agreement with the police department. It will be now. So it's not really making a change, it's just solidifying what is already in place. The other thing that is included in here is the new wage scale for both this year and next year. and it's essentially following the budgeted amount that you guys have allotted. 2023 would be a 4% increase, and 2024 would be a 3% increase. So, pretty standard stuff there as well. Longevity pay, what was, the old longevity pay was ridiculously low. That is being increased somewhat. We've got a new provision in here that basically says when an employee of the police department is training another police officer or acting as a training lead, that they get a differential, again, an extra $1.50 per hour. I personally think that, and the committee thought that that is fair and reasonable. If an officer is training other officers, they should get a little extra, and so we're suggesting that $1.50 per hour extra amount. The new agreement would mirror the current personnel policy as it regards funeral leave and jury duty. Those two things really weren't addressed in the old contract, so essentially what we're doing is we're taking the stuff that you would normally do for regular employees and put that in here to make that change. So by and large, there was some back and forth that have occurred, and this is what is for your consideration here tonight. I've reviewed it, I've given my blessing to it, I know Clinton reviewed it, he finds it to be acceptable, and the committee met, and they also find it to be acceptable. So, you need your approval here tonight.
And if I could just add a couple of quick items here. The half-day Christmas Eve pay that Jason references is in here, and also the day after Thanksgiving, it was proposed that that become a holiday. It's never been a paid holiday for us. But I would suggest that if you have it in this contract, that we can put it in our personnel policy for all employees. And then the longevity pay that Jason had referenced, that's also referenced in our personnel policy. So there will be a couple minor changes in our personnel policy as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it makes sense to keep them uniform.
Yeah. And thanks to Andrea, she helped crunch some numbers there a few weeks ago when we were looking at the proposal. Yeah, thanks to staff, and I thought we had really good negotiations.
Yeah, they went well.
I think I mentioned to Jason that the second time we negotiated, I think we laughed half the time and we talked serious the other half.
Yeah.
So, that's good.
Yeah, they went well.
Not laughing at your proposal, Sheila, we were just laughing at it. Yeah. So, thank you for that, and I would recommend the council make a motion to approve this. We'll change a couple of these underlined, crossed out things, and then we'll get it in for signatures.
Okay.
Okay?
I'll make a motion to,
One final thing, this agreement is good until November 1st of 2024.
Okay.
It's a multi-year agreement.
Thank you, Jason.
Motion to approve the CBA, Police Department.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you for all your work.
You bet.
New business number 3, rental license status, 220 North Main.
Get the letter here.
Charging by the minute here, Mike, I get to make this trip.
Yeah, I know, we paid you to walk back and forth.
All right, I thought Sarah was gonna handle this one, I guess I got this one. Essentially what I did is, Sarah has sent out a number of letters to the property owner at 220 North Main Street and has not gotten any feedback from those owners whatsoever. It's believed that that property is being used as a rental. We have a city code provision in place that if you are renting, that background studies have to be done on tenants. And that's been made very clear to the owners at 220 North Main Street. For whatever reason, they have not responded to Sarah's correspondence. They were invited to this meeting tonight. They're not here. The ordinance does need to be followed. There is a reason why we have ordinances, and we can't have people just flagrantly violate those. And I think Sarah has done just about everything that she can to try to get these owners to comply. So, we are recommending that you take some action as it regards 220 North Main Street. In my memo to you, I gave you those options that are available to you. You can tonight give them a clear directive that they gotta get this background check done by a certain date and impose an administrative fine. If they don't get it done and they don't pay the fine, you can at that point in time suspend the license for a period of time. The other thing you can do is you can revoke the license here tonight. When does the license expire, Sarah?
January of 2023, January 31st.
So they've got a couple of months left, I suppose. But those are essentially the options before you here tonight. You can revoke the license, you can give them clear directive to get it done, impose a fine. If they don't pay the fine, it would be an automatic revocation.
Has there been issues at this residence in the past with, delinquent, or
So-
issues with?
Any rental license issues?
Yes.
Yeah, so the issue is when I have Officer, or Chief Ballman coming over and asking me who lives in this residence, and I don't have an active form, I kind of feel bad, like, the problem is it's in the property owner's name. They pay the utility bill, there's never anybody that comes in to sign up for utilities on that property.
Believe that they were past due on their taxes, but then they got paid out.
They did. And yes, I've had multiple issues with, yes.
So what happens if we revoke their license immediately? Then what would take place? I mean, does it have to go through a process, or they can immediately evict them, or what?
We wouldn't get involved in any eviction. What we would do is we would send them notice that their license has been revoked and that they can't rent on a certain day. And it's just coming to mind here, but we would essentially send them a letter saying that the city council here tonight revoked their license, and that any tenants that they have there have to be out by December 1st.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, that's essentially what would take place. And then if they continue to rent without a license, then the police department would get involved and there would likely be a citation issued.
Well, I think we should push it.
I agree with John.
I think we should revoke it.
They've had several
That's
chances.
right.
I mean, they're not even here tonight.
Right.
And they know,
And the staff spent enough time on it already without the additional time.
yeah,
I mean, a $300 fine, anybody can throw out $300, but you revoke their license and something's gonna have to get done.
yep.
Well, that's my motion, I'll put that to motion, and that we
Second.
revoke their license.
All in favor of revoking the rental license?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
Effective December 1st?
Yeah.
Yes.
Effective December
Oh, sorry,
1st.
yes, December 1st.
Thank you, Sarah. Jason?
You bet. We'll let them know that they've got to have tenants out by December 1st and if their license is done, so.
I think it's good that we start, I'm gonna have to start cracking down, because
Hopefully this will set an example. and-
Well, we did the same thing on North Main.
Yeah, it's different circumstance, but we did the same thing.
There was,
There was
There are
issues,
standards
there
to
was,
be met.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
they don't
down
meet
by
the standards,
nursing
then
home
we
there, yeah.
need to be reactive to that.
That was,
Yep, I agree with
that
John.
definitely had to be
Yep.
done.
All right, we'll let them know.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah.
We have a vacancy on the park board, is new business number 4. Melissa Cummins is resigned.
She has resigned, the park board met tonight, we talked about it, the city council does need to adopt a resolution declaring the vacancy on the park board. And, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim and Andy, but I believe the park board said that we're gonna advertise for 2 openings in the paper.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yep.
Rather than trying to fill it for one
We've got
month.
most of the important things done for the year.
Yep.
We'll be discussing next year projects in the next month or so, but in January 1, anyone who comes on can catch up very rapidly. We aren't gonna do a lot of activity until January, so once we make an appointment for someone new, they will catch up rapidly. So, no, I think the board is on board with you also.
And I will point out that the resolution that Andy and I will sign will have a correctly spelled word, because the resolution that you have on the screen is declaring a vacancy on the board,
Vacancy?
not a vacancy. So I found that this morning and fixed it.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. A vacancy.
You just fired me for misspelling the word vacant. Now there's a vacancy in this, because I got fired.
Is that an animal?
Make sure you hire Marley's replacement before
Can you hunt vacancies?
I don't know. What do they taste like?
Chicken.
Chicken.
Obviously, it'll be chicken.
Yep.
Motion to approve resolution 2237. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the last item is basically an insurance step we take every year when we're doing our budgets. But every year, the city council has me sign off on the waiver of our boiler and machinery coverage, and then the liability form, that second sheet. So I would recommend the council do that, and I'll get them to Sheila this week.
Your recommendation is that we do, I would move that then.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
All right, clock stops.
Okay, what time?
30 minutes.
The clock stops.
Not a full hour. City attorney's gonna put in a bacon, whatever.
You do realize he charges by the minute, right?